about the system in itself that needs to be revamped?
It is the system. It is the system. Like if I were to ask the Minister of Education and those who are behind this legislation or this pronouncement, what is their goal? Why do they believe that a child must be 18 before taking WAEC? Upon what premises was this decision taken? I tried to read their details. I didn't see any such detail. When I say premises, you can say that research has shown that children below 18 who write WAEC have done poorly in university. Let's see that statistic. Let's see the methodology for that research. How was data gathered and what was the type of analysis done? How did you arrive at that conclusion? I don't see a decision that is based on any research, at least so far. I haven't read anywhere where they said that we conducted a research and we found this. Now, if somebody say, okay, we are saying a child cannot go to university if he is not 18, because in university you are meant to sign documents that are binding on you, and only 18 years old can sign such document according to our law. This makes sense. But we are not hearing things like that. Okay, so this means that somebody wakes up and feels that because he went to school, saw a child that is younger than so age and had some bad experience, I think as we does legislate that all children below that age should not go to that place. Meanwhile, there are many other children below that age that have done well. Like I said, I am not an advocate of push the child beyond their age maturity in school. I have told you my own experience and how I would have done it differently if I had my way. But then, let us not also make pronouncement based on our own whims and caprices. Let it always be empirical. There is a hard fact that says majority of children that take WAEC before 18 do not pass, or they fail woefully, or they have trauma in their life later on, or they are unable to cope with the university's or the peer pressure. You know, we should have empirical basis for making this decision. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
If you have this empirical basis, then your decision will be towards achieving a particular goal. If I ask the people pronouncing this today, what is the goal of this your pronouncement? What do you want to achieve with it? Because you have to identify a problem. And then you say, how many alternative ways exist through which we can solve this problem? Then which one is the optimal one among them? By optimal, we mean the one that balances efficiency with effectiveness. Effectiveness means doing the job it's supposed to do. Efficiency here means doing that job with the most, with the least possible resources. So the two of them together form the optimal solution alternative. So if you found a problem empirically, and then you set out to give it a solution, you will now find the alternative solutions available, and you now identify the optimal solution available. Then you implement. But you just wake up, throw something out, and you throw a blanket legislation, and you say it's okay. It shows that we have not even internalized the education given to us, and we don't even intend to use that education to solve any problem. We always want to depend on our emotions, we want to depend on our moods, we want to depend on our guts and instinct. That is not always a good way to go about problems. So I think that it is not about the age, it is about the system.
Okay.
The system. And the system is a long-term issue, but is the only viable and sustainable solution. Unfortunately, our leaders, our politicians don't like investing in anything that doesn't make them trend today. They don't like it. And that is what you are seeing in the educational sector. Right. Does it not baffle you that when most of our children started failing JAMB, instead of us to go back into the system that takes them from the beginning until they take JAM and find out what went wrong. What did we do? We dropped the cutoff mark for JAM. That's a quick solution. But it's the wrong one. It's not even the solution. You are destroying the educational system. Instead of going back to say what went wrong, is it our methodology of teaching? Is it our methodology of recruiting teacher? Is it the quality of training we provide for our teacher? Is it the quantity of teachers? Is it the curriculum that we are even running? Is it the materials we are using to teach? Is it the tools we have employed in the educational system? Instead of asking all these questions, carrying out research to figure out where the challenge is and solve it empirically, they just say, whoop, drop the cutoff point. And let me also shock you with another thing. This cutoff point that we are dropping is not as if our schools that are supposed to take up these children are enough and empty every year.
Right.
The ones that pass, these schools do not have the capacity to even uptake them. So you can see, for instance, a number of children that passed WAEC in past JAM in 2019 that are yet that couldn't find a university to take them. They are still there, and we have another upsurge in 2020, and we now have another excesses in 2022. All of these children have to go back again and write JAM. The school has not been able to take them. But instead of us finding a way to update the knowledge of those who failed, we'd rather bring down the bar to their level. By so doing, we are telling our children that it is okay to not be the best.
All right, let me put a peg to your thoughts now. Let's just open the phone lines, get to hear from family members, add their voice in the discourse. You want to add your voice in this conversation right there. You have your own thoughts, your own understanding from what the federal government is doing, as well as from what the guest has said so far. Now you're presented with two very strong points. What would be your thoughts as regards the age, limit being pegged, as a requirement into the tertiary institutions in Nigeria? And as well as, do you agree with the claim that should the federal government and ASUU broker a peace deal that is workable and feasible, that some of these issues would have been handled amicably, whereas it would not even get to the point of the federal government or the Ministry of Education deciding some of these matters that would have been decided internally rather than handled by the federal government, right? And as well as the place of the federal government stepping into the issue of the age, limit, saying that, okay, they're going to open it up, so that you and I would be a part of that discourse and get to hear what Nigerians are saying. Well, the number would be 0908 766 8888, and the WhatsApp portal number is 0909 705 4450. Don't call the WhatsApp portal number. Don't send a voice note. Just send a WhatsApp message to the WhatsApp portal number or a text message. Hello and good morning.
Good morning, Udrak, my dear brother.
Yes,
this
good
is
morning.
From Central.
Welcome aboard.
I greet our guest. Our guest has said it all. As for me, Udrak,
yes, please.
there is no chance, there is no way I would allow my son or my daughter to be enrolled in the university below the age of 17 to even sit for JAM. I'm giving that 1 year. I mean, it's left to me. But giving 18 years, express. JAM takes success in seeing students fail. JAM just now has become a revenue generation for the country. So if you're saying JAM, you will see people that are writing JAM 5 times, 6 times, 10 times. It is not news. So you're going to handle the faith, the life, the educational future of Nigerians into an incompetent and irrelevant agency that should have been scrapped long time ago. JAM. We are seeing how JAM have frustrated a lot of students into committing suicide because they are writing JAM 3, 4, 5 times. So if you're saying before they even qualify to write JAM, there should be 18 years. Then JAM will now continue to jam them You know, they are writing exam 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years in a row. You know, you only write the exam once in a year. The government must look into this. JAMB should not be given such powers.
Right.
I insist, JAMB today is a revenue generation. They take pleasure in failing students, generating revenue, because the only way they are making money is the more students fail. That is how, you know, it gives them higher revenue the subsequent years. If you're having mass enrollment in the university, JAMB revenue will be going down. But JAMB coming out and keep declaring higher revenue generation. How do they generate revenue? It is through the sale of, you know, JAMB form, the scratch card and whatever. I'm against it.
Right,
however, I think speaking against it is what is political. Uduak, in the north, in our north, we have been crying the child marriage, where our young girls who should be in classrooms, age 14 and 15, that are being married out. Atiku never came out to speak against it. In Atiku home state of Adamawa, there are over 500,000 adult school children. In Borno, there are over 1 million. In Kano, over 1.8 million. Atiku never came out to speak. So my question, on what moral ground does Atiku have to speak on this issue if he has been turning blind eye to child marriage in the north?
Right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Alameen, for that one. And yes, still taking your calls and getting your reaction in this regard. I mean, the topic is out there: tertiary education age limits, the fuel subsidy issue, of course, which is somewhat a subsidiary of the National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS, calling on the president as a call of reminder, you know, saying that what about the, you know, the vehicular buses that you said you were going to give to us as an institution, as a body and everything. And of course, the last one would be the place of the ASUU's demand. Do you also think that September 6th, which has, you know, been pegged for yet another meeting with between the ASUU and the federal government, would indeed come into fruition, and that the gains of it will indeed saturate the education sector in the most positive way? Well, then you can as well let me into your thoughts. But yes, let me also get this message right here and right now. It's very important to do so. This one says, good morning, UD and your guest. Good morning. Federal government to peg age for writing WASE at 18 years. My opinion is that the policy is discriminatory and will not stand the test of time. It will be a deprivation of rights against discrimination enshrined in the Constitution for a Nigerian citizen to be disqualified from writing an exam on the grounds of age. I ask, what happens to the gifted children or children that are geniuses? To me, this policy will not stand the test of time. Have a nice day, UD. Yusuf, all the way from Wuse 2. Thank you, Yusuf. And taking this call. Hello and good morning.
Barrister.
Yes, a passenger. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Niger, Lapai.
All right, Obasanjo, let's get straight into it.
Thank you.
Yes.
The whole vice president, the former vice president, he holds ground, sir. We should not make it as if we're doing politics. Politics, yes, it's real, but what is the truth? You said it like the guest over there said it. Equally, Alamin insists that yes, it's the right things to do. But when some of the things that we want to do and we cannot just do them very well, how do you just take it? How does Nigeria will keep believing on it? Sir, like I do say, this government, they will shift this problem to another problem. From this problem to another problem. They don't stand on one thing. Let me complete it. Let me do this thing. For Nigeria to believe that yes, we come out with the matters of good leadership. But we keep failing every day from this step to another step. But yes, it's very good, like the other guests say. Sir, but yes, is it you want to climb a tree from the top or from the down? Barrister.
All right, Alameen. Sorry, I beg your pardon. Obasanjo, I'm trying to really get, I would love for you to land so I know I get where you're really going with, you know, all of this. Yeah.
Thank you. What am I trying to say?
Yes, please.
Sir, if we want to allow, or we don't want to allow these children to go to school at the age of 18 years. Have the federal government regulated the private institutions or the public institutions? Did they regulate it? The date of birth in this country, does this date of birth has meaningful in the country?
Okay.
Do we take date of birth as a serious thing in this country?
Okay.
You get that, Abi?
Okay, Obasanjo. I get it. All right. Well, Obasanjo right there, coming from another angle is what about the place of regulation? What about the place of monitoring? What about the place of ensuring that indeed we follow these things through as we have said it, and that it's not just going to be yet another pipe, dream. It's not going to be yet another rhetoric, that is put out there, without proper implementation. And they has asked, do we really take seriously the age, in this country seriously? Well, Mr. Agaba.
Yes.
Well, you heard Alamein had come from the place of yes, he's throwing his weight behind it, saying that what, if he would want to have a child and let the child get into school at least 17 years. Into 18 would be proper for him, so throwing his weight behind, the policy. But then he had also come from another, place, saying that what moral justification does Atiku have, to wanting to, address these issues, as he also looked at his state and what's going on in the state and the children out there who need to indeed be given attention, in terms of proper education and all. Yeah, so all of this, what do you make of it?
Okay. Let me, the easiest one to discard, let me start with the one about whether or not Atiku have moral justification, given the state of his own state of origin. I think that shouldn't be coming up in a discussion like this. This is, although this is the usual rhetoric in discussion in Nigeria, when there is a valid issue being discussed, people would leave the issue and start discussing the messenger instead of the message. And I think I would like to tell Nigerians to desist from that, because politicians are aware that we always get like that, and that helps them to hide their impunity, ineffectiveness, and inefficiency. We shouldn't be bringing up such things. What we should rather be saying is, what Atiku is saying, is it the ideal thing or not? Let's look at the point that he's making. Not whether Atiku was a vice president, fine, but that was how many years ago? He's also not the current governor of his state, and he hasn't been in the government of his state for a long time. Forget the fact that he might be a godfather and all of that, but I don't want us to start discussing the person instead of the issue. That is like majoring in the minor and minoring in the major. This is what Nigerians do all the time, and I want to tell Nigerians to desist from such things. Face the issue and discuss the issue, and let's demand for accountability. Even if he was the president before and he didn't do it, and then today the issue is on ground, we should focus on the issue. The reason we have a new government and the reason we have tenure is because we believe that no one person knows it all, and we don't want to go down the rabbit hole with one person administration. So we have a new administration. We should shed light on the issue so that the new administration can do the needful.
Right.
That's for that. The other aspect where parents are saying they won't let their children go to university before the age of 17 and all of that. I've made that clear before in my introduction that I'm not a supporter of that. But you see, you have to look at both sides of the coin. Not too long ago, we started shouting that when you cap the age for application for job, what are you saying? Now most of the banks and most of the private organizations, they put advert out there to say that they want young graduates into a position, and that person must have served NYC, and that person should have at least 2 years experience for the job, and the person should not be older than 26. How is that possible? Let's look at an age where you finish secondary school by when you are 18. Then you do JAM that time. You get into the university when you are 19, sorry. The university program is 4 years. Let's assume, without conceding that there will be no strike and you are going to graduate in exactly 4 years, you'll be 23 by then. We all know that you can't go to NYC the very year you finish because of backlog. You probably wait 6 months or sometimes even a whole year before you are scheduled. So by that time, you are 24. By the time you finish NYC, you are 25. And then the company is saying you should come with 2 years experience. So that is age discrimination. And that is going to make sure that most of the children who stick to this outcome won't be able to find job. Even the recent NNPC job advertisement, they capped it as 38 for the experienced recruit. 38 years. And I was wondering, who told them that there are no 45-year-old people who have never found any reasonable job since they graduated? Mm-hmm. I know I can give you more than 10 people that I know like that. It's not that they are not brilliant. But they just couldn't find job. They are just doing anything they can do to survive. And now the government even puts a job out and those people cannot apply irrespective of their qualification. So when you do this on the one side and you come to the other side and you say you want to cap the age, it doesn't follow. So when we are solving a problem, we have to solve it holistically. So if we are going to say you must be 28 before you go into a school, then we should have all the things we want to use as certificate form should also calculate what should happen before we get a job. Then before you start putting a cap, okay, a young graduate with 2 years experience should be at least 28. So if you say, okay, not more than 28, it makes sense. Not more than 30, it makes sense. So what I'm saying is that we shouldn't be thinking of putting caps on things based on nothing. We should have relevant calculations. If a child is 18, the child goes to school by 19, graduates by 23, finishes service by 25. Why should we have an age cap of 26? So we should also address the problem all the way to the top, including retirement age. Not just for us to say you must be 18. Then later on, we'll now discover that, oh, there is a job issue here. Then people go back to the court and start reducing their age.
Mm. So let me come in. It just tells us that whilst the federal government, is making an effort and trying to peg an age, for, as a requirement for tertiary institution, the system itself is fighting whatever gains might have been derived from the pegging of age, right? On the other hand. But Alamin also came from the place where he said that JAMB in itself should be scrapped. This is also to confirm, some issues surrounding the last WASE examination, that's the West African examination, senior school certificate examination, where the National Assembly had to get involved in a problem with the West African Senior School Certificate Examination, WASE, where the examination board, WAEC, recently released results, but didn't give results to over 200,000 students because they cheated. Right? So it goes yet into another angle where you made mention of the fact that, look, it seems as though we are reducing the effectiveness of what schooling used to be back in the days, the benchmark, and we are bringing it down to SUD, a reality that is almost nonsensical. And rather than keep it at a level that is top-notch, we have brought it down. It just goes on to also pitching us, with how we are perceived internationally, in this regard, and it doesn't place us in a very good way. In fact, international best practices, would entail the likes of the United States, where there is no federal age limits for tertiary education admission in the United States. However, individual institutions may set their own age requirement. Now, in the United Kingdom, the minimum age for university admission is 18. But however, some institutions may accept younger students. And in Australia, there is no national age limit. but institutions may have their own requirements. Yes? In South Africa, for example, the age limit for university admission is 18, but some institutions also accept younger, students. In Ghana, we're looking at 17. In Kenya, it is 18. So it's between 17 and 18. But bottom line, some have said that the implication, would be, may deny access to education for deserving students. But one question, stands tall: Does the National Assembly, right? Do we have, or does the federal government have the constitutional right to even set up an age limit for tertiary education admission? And lastly, do you think that the meeting that has been postponed to September 6th between ASUU and the federal government will indeed come into fruition, as you just put a cap to it, maybe
all right,
as fast as
let me quickly tackle the issue of ASUU, then I'll come back to this issue.
In a jiffy, maybe 1 minute if you can, because time is not allowing.
Yes. You remember in our last conversation, which
Yes.
was mostly about ASUU,
Yes.
I gave a recommendation that we should abandon the 2009 agreement and have a new agreement that is more feasible. And I said to do this, we should have the Minister of Education and the Commissioner of Education from all the states. We should have the Parliament represented by the President of the Senate, the Speaker of the House of Assembly, and the Speakers of all the State House of Assembly, and that we should have the Attorney General there and the Chief Justice of the Attorney General of every state, so that we'll be able to look at it from the executive, the Parliament, and the judicial perspective.
Okay.
Let them come up with a new agreement that is feasible. Maybe we should have the Finance Minister and the Commissioner of Finance there and the Accountant General there, so that we might be able to talk about the financial implication and all of that together.
Right.
Let them come up with something that is now feasible.
Okay.
If that meeting is going to be something like this, then I think it will work.
Okay.
Then back to the age limit something. Whether the federal government has the legal authority to do that, I think I want to leave the definite answer to legal women and let them give their opinion.
Okay.
But I think from a layman perspective that the federal government draft the foundation upon which everything in this country is built. So I think the federal government should be able to prescribe the framework for the education, which includes age limit at different levels.
All right, Honorable Edwards is saying that, look, the age issue in Nigeria is a serious one. You can imagine contesting at the age of 18. National Assembly should look into this issue and make it mandatory, especially in elections, so that our youths can be brought aboard, in matters that concern politics. I mean, quite a number of things. Alamin is also saying that there must also be a scrapping of the jam, that he doesn't see the relevance of jam, in the discourse. I mean, we can go on, but we cannot go any further. I want to say a big thank you to you, Mr. Agaba Wilson Agaba, for stepping in, adding your voice, from the place of wisdom, comprehensive, by the way, into the discourse. You're a business financial consultant and a public affairs analyst. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Sure.
Have a great day.
You too. All right, this is where we call it close. Thank you, far too kind. Tomorrow, again, of course, becomes the close for the week. You don't want to miss it. All right, have a great day. My name is Udwak Daniel.